in the weather, is it? But are you trying dry January yourself? With the start of the new year, lots of us taking part in the annual campaign to give up alcohol for a few weeks and try to feel a bit better about things.
Well, Dr. Alex George is doing that, and Love Island star is, of course, now a government advisor. He actually stopped drinking alcohol in early December. He says he plans to keep going indefinitely and it's not just dry January for you, is it, Alex, at all?
It's 30 days sober today, actually, so it's kind of worked out as a nice day to
When you say 30 days sober, OK, I'm really interested when people say this. Does that mean that previously you were drinking too much or drinking every day?
So I think this is what's interesting. A lot of the time when people say, all right, I'm going sober, they think, oh, have you got was it a drink problem? Were you drinking too much? And not really. I probably drunk once or twice a week, probably as a lot of people do. You know, on a Saturday, going out with my friends to the pub and having a few beers. Really, my decisions come from a position where I don't feel I have an issue with alcohol. And it's almost like I've stepped back and gone, what's the benefits here? And what I find is really interesting is that in society, especially in the UK, you're almost auto-enrolled into drinking. You know, you grow up and you think of family as, you know, as a teenager, like, oh, have a try of a beer, have a sip of this potentially addictive substance that you can try. As you get older and, you know, you're 18, some sort of rite of passage, start drinking. And then you think the wider things that happen, you know, if someone is born, we celebrate with drink. If someone passes away, we drink. If you have a good day at work, let's go and have a drink. If you have a bad day at work, have a drink. And I think the thing that I wanted to do, and it's not about judging people who drink, and it's certainly not even a judgment of my own relationship in the past necessarily with alcohol, but it's stepping back and going, like, what's the benefit here? Like, with any relationship, whether it's a friendship or otherwise or whatever, it's about thinking, like, is there a benefit here? And eventually it was like, I enjoy getting out early in the morning, I love my exercise, I want to feel good in myself, and alcohol does all the opposite of those things.
You chose your time, though, didn't you? Because, I mean, January, I guess, people have spent loads of money over Christmas. It's New Year's resolution, fresh start. It kind of feels like the right time to do it. Giving up alcohol just before Christmas is quite a challenge because it's everywhere.
Yes, I think so. But myself, it'd been a long time of me doing a bit of reading and research, and I got to the point where I was like, do you know what, this is the right time for me. And actually, do you know what, alcohol is so expensive. I mean, if you want a nice craft beer in Manchester or London or any of the major cities, you're looking at £6, £7, £8. It's so expensive. So actually, giving up Christmas was a great time. I think I've saved, looking last night, I saved probably about £1,000 in the last month between cabs, eating food that you have the next morning after you've had a few drinks. The cost of drink itself, it's so expensive, and I'd rather spend that on other things, you know.
So does that mean that you stopped going out? Because that's what I'm interested in. It's really important to stay sociable, to see your friends. How are you doing that if everyone else around you is still drinking?
What's interesting is that a lot of the time people feel like I need alcohol to go and socialise, but actually, you know, what I found is that I've become more social because I know, right, I can go out and meet my friends and the next morning go to the gym. So I think the beauty is that you can have everything. And what I'd say to people that think, oh my gosh, I need it for nerves or anxiety, and I'm someone that gets very anxious myself, if you go out and go to that social environment and just sit with it and go, do you know what, I'm not going to have a drink, I'm going to spend 10, 15 minutes now and just see how I feel, you'll find that you're relaxed in the situation and that you didn't need it at all. And also, and the beauty is, the next morning, you don't have that horrible anxiety, because I know a lot of people out there will agree, it feels awful. And what's interesting, I think, and there is a huge change, the sober movement is definitely happening. I mean, Drink Aware, one of the biggest organisations, did a recent survey, and 1 in 4 18 to 25-year-olds are choosing not to drink at all, and National Union of Students found that 1 in 3 undergraduates opt not to drink. And I think if you look back to when I went to med school, where drink was basically like, come on everyone, this is part of being a medical student, which is quite ironic, it was a huge part of the culture, and that change, that shift in 12, 13, 14 years has been huge.
But be honest, was your New Year's Eve this time as much fun as previous years?
Do you know what? I loved it. I was tucked up and asleep by 9:30. I quite enjoyed
Brilliant.
it. But I was up first thing in the morning with my dog Rolo. We went for a walk and we enjoyed it. And look, I mean, what I'd say to people at home is if you're curious about it, give it a try. I mean, if you were born in the UK, you've probably been auto-enrolled into drinking. It's part of almost what's expected. Just step back and have a think, whether it's dry January. I mean, people say to me, will you ever drink alcohol again? I mean, you tell me how long forever is, and I'll tell you if I'm ever going to drink again. I think it's about coming away from it and going, like, how does it serve me? And already, you know, I feel healthier. I exercise more. I'm more alert. My mental health's improved. My anxiety's decreased. I mean, to me at the moment, I don't see the negative.
What about people who struggle with giving up things, whether it's alcohol or smoking or unhealthy eating, whatever? How do you get yourself into that frame of mind where you can leave something?
Look, obviously, I'm talking from the perspective of someone I don't feel had a problem with drinking. I wasn't addicted to drinking. So if you're really struggling with addiction, get support. AA are incredible. Speak to your GP. Get the support around you. But if you're someone like myself who's thinking about, oh, is this something that I want? I think it's looking at ways to enhance your life and enrich your life when you remove alcohol. So taking up new hobbies, thinking of things you enjoy, always bearing in mind, why am I doing this? What's the benefit of it? And when it comes to creating new habits, a habit essentially is kind of an involuntary action that you're doing. When you're creating a habit, you need initial motivation because you need to think, right, I want to do this. Then the big bit in the middle, I think, is what we often miss is discipline. A lot of people start the gym in January. Over 90% of people who join the gym on the 1st of January are still going in February. A lot of that is because you rely on motivation, and motivation wanes. Discipline always stays. So it's like going, I want to go out for a walk every morning. The motivation of getting out there in the first sunny day is easy. When it's raining, it's not so easy. And it's the discipline of keeping going, even if you don't feel like it, that will get you there. And eventually, you stop asking the question and it becomes a habit. And it's the same with drinking. Eventually, it's not a question in yourself, do I want to drink? It's like, I don't drink.
I'm sure a lot of people listening this morning will applaud you for what you're doing and say it's step by step, but
thank you.
It's only 30 days so far.
Yeah, a long way to go. Way to go. But as I say, I'm enjoying it. I've read a lot from people who have done similar things and have been sober for many years. And the other thing they say is don't be so hard on yourself. If for example, I did go and have a drink, it's like saying, you go to the gym for 10 years and then you miss out on the gym for a month and you've wasted your 10 years not going to the gym. I mean, bit of self-compassion. Anyone wants to do the same. Don't be so hard on yourself. You might have a drink, fine, but all the time that you haven't drunk or you've made this good lifestyle choice, you will benefit from that. So that's how I feel.
We can't have you on the sofa without asking you very quickly about the situation in accident and emergency. I know you worked in A&E for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, it's dire. It was not a good state when I left Lewisham A&E a year ago. The NHS is under a ridiculous amount of pressure, and I've got so many friends that are working on the front line, and I don't know how they're going to keep doing it. And when we look at we talk about the pay issue, and I think the important thing for people to remember is when the nurses are talking about striking, they're talking about the fact that we're hemorrhaging nurses, we're losing nurses, and we're shrinking this cohort of staff that can work. This staff that's shrinking, this cohort that's shrinking, is becoming burnt out, more tired. We need to have an improvement in the working conditions, the basic conditions that people are working to have fair pay, good staffing levels to provide safe care. Because do you know what? I can't imagine what it's like for the doctors and nurses in A&E who know there's 4 ambulances queuing outside. Which one of them is going to die before I get there? I've been there. I've had it before. I've been in A&E where I've had to think which one of these people are going to die before I get to them, and it's happened. And that is happening right now around the country. I'm telling you, if there's 19-hour waits in A&E, people are dying. 100%.
Dr. Alex, thank you so much for coming in, talking to us.